Hey everybody, this is Devin and welcome back to another episode of the Grognards Corner, and we are in part 3 of taking our look at Space Infantry from Lock and Load Publishing. I know I said in the last episode that I thought I was going to go ahead and go over hives and kind of how they work for my third episode, but then I realized it'd take me probably a minute to go over exactly how hive setup is. And you know what? I don't want to blow all the suspense and surprise for you. So if you get the game, then you'll know how the hives work. But what I did want to go over, I made a couple mistakes in the last video, and I figured I would go ahead and show how combat works. Last episode, we went ahead and we were in this node, and what I had forgotten to do is this was a locked door right here. I forgot to check for this locked door. I should not have been able to try to advance into this node right here because I forgot to check for that one. So that was my bad. Apologies. I did check for it. Wasn't passable, so this was the only path that was available to me. Also, when I made it into this science node right here, has this little letter right here, this M. If you notice, there's a couple others, G and I. Basically, those are resource nodes, and if you make it into there, you actually get a certain number of resources equal to whatever it is. M for medic packs, G for grenades, I for intel. Basically, when you make it in there and clear the event, you draw a chit, and half of whatever the chit's value is, that's how many of those you get. So, for example, with the med pack, you go in there, you clear the node, you clear the event, you pull a 4, you get 2 med packs. Now, you can't go over your 9 limit of resources that you're allowed, but if you want to, you can switch out some, you can leave some resources behind, what have you. So anyways, apologize that I did not point out those two. So basically went along, played a little bit, cleared that one, moved back into here, made it into here. Took us a few turns to get in through here, and then over into this one, into this science final one. And if you'll notice, it is a 4+B, and we already determined that, yeah, I ran into an event, so now we're going to look exactly how combat works. So the first thing we need to do, since we're looking at a B event, is we need to draw a counter. It is a 0. So what you do is you go ahead and look over at your handy-dandy little enemy sheet. And remember, like I said in the last episode, there are about 8 different types of enemy forces. I went ahead with mercenaries forces with this one. You look under the Class B column because it is a B event node, and we pulled a 0, which is 2 soldiers. So let's go ahead and put down these 2 all-purpose markers to note that there are 2 soldiers. Had we pulled like a 7 or greater, we'd be facing off against 6 soldiers and 2 sergeants, and we would, of course, put counters in each one of those to identify how many we're facing off against. But we got lucky. We pulled a 0. Next, you have to determine what range you actually start off. And there's a little range table up here, and it's different for each enemy. And this one, again, you draw another counter. So we got a 3, and we start off at F range, which is the fire range. And that makes a difference for what our skills are. So since we are now in combat, we're going to go ahead and shift back over to our troops, because now both sides get to shoot at each other. Let's go ahead and draw chits for our actions. We've got a 1 for the squad leader, which isn't going to give us any command points. The demolitionist only has melee, so he's not going to be able to get involved in this. The technician does have fire, so we pull a counter for him, but all we got is a 2. That's not going to give us any. The shotgunner has a 5. We pulled a 2. It's not going to give us anything. The scientist doesn't have anything. The assault team has a fire of 4. And pulled another 2, which isn't going to give us anything. And the fire team has a fire of 3, which is a 6. All right, excellent. Let's keep those numbers in mind and switch back over to the enemies. Because the enemies, if you'll see, they have their melee 4 and fire 4. So we draw for the first one, which is a 3, which isn't going to do him any good, and a 1, which isn't going to do him any good. Now, combat resolution works exactly like skill resolution. You take the number that you drew and divide it by the skill number. So if we're looking at 3 divided by 4, because we're at the fire range, because their fire skills of 4 is nothing. 1 divided by 4 is a nothing. We go back and take a look at our regular squad. Our squad leader got a 1. His command radius or command rating is a 4. That doesn't give him anything. Really, the only person who managed to do anything was our fire team. He got a 6 divided by 3. That actually gives us 2 successes, which is great because you know what I'm going to also do? I've got a grenade resource, and I'm going to throw that grenade resource into the combat right now. And a grenade gives you 2 automatic hits. So we're looking at 2 hits, or 2 successful skill tests from the fire team, which is 2 hits, and 2 hits from the grenade, which gives us a grand total of 4. Now, normally the way combat works is you take half of whatever damage you've done. So for example, I've done 4 damage. Half of that can be assigned to one individual. So these guys with the little med symbols right here of 2, that indicates they have 2 hit points each. I did 4 points. Half of them can be assigned up to one individual. So that's 2. And they only have 2 hits, which kills them off. So we'll go ahead and remove those counters. And then the remaining hits have to be equally spread out among the remaining troops. Well, there's only 1 troop remaining. We have 2 points left, and he only has 2 points. So that kills him off as well. And that's a down and dirty look at how combat works. In the reverse way, combat also works the same. Take the number of successes that the enemies get. Up to half of them can be assigned to one of your units, determined randomly. And then the remainder is it spread out? Yes, it is spread out. Sorry, I'm getting myself confused. But yeah, so we went ahead, we killed off the 2 soldiers were there. That allowed us to clear the node, which was the 3rd laboratory that we needed to get for our victory conditions, allowing us to win the scenario. And that, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, gentlefolk and barbarians everywhere, is how you play Space Infantry, the solitaire infantry space combat game from Lock and Load Publishing. Appreciate everybody watching. Stay tuned for the next episode. Got a few ideas, couple games I want to get on the table. Not sure they'll fit on my table, but we'll see what we can do. I may have to switch to a Vassal mod or a Sun Tzu mod for the next one, but we'll figure something out. Look for it hopefully within the next week. Thanks for listening, everybody. I'll talk to everybody next time.